What's up, everybody? You got Mike and Chris here talking through the medias, and today it's Wednesday, so we got your mail. And what we got your mail is, if you don't know, you may have wanted to send your email or question to another movie reviewer or movie news YouTuber, but instead we got it and we inform you nicely. You got it from the wrong. You sent it to the wrong guy, but we're gonna answer your question nonetheless. We only got one question this week, so Chris, are you ready to answer this question with me?
It's football season, so there's nothing more than I like dealing with is an interception. So we've got something intercepted. I'm ready to go for it.
As am I. Okay, so our first and only question of today comes from Christopher Ogg. He says, "My question is about the production of Batman vs. Superman. Like most rational people, I thought the movie was an incoherent mess. No ultimate cut can make up for the moronic actions of two main characters and the ridiculous plan of that Lex Luthor caricature. On the other hand, I really enjoyed The Man of Steel. Same director and writer on both ends, Snyder and Goyer, but the end products are just night and day. The only explanation that I could find was Chris Nolan's control over Man of Steel. He co-wrote the story for it with Goyer and produced the movie through his production company, Syncope. Do you know what the story behind why Nolan wasn't involved in Batman vs. Superman? His name is only mentioned once among a dozen others in executive producer section. The actual producers on Batman vs. Superman were only Charles Roven and Deborah Snyder. What's your explanation of such a stark difference between the two movies?"
That was a mouthful there was a lot to take in on that one. I guess the first thing I would attack is the whole incoherent mess. He just totally this is obviously a person that's not a fan of Batman versus Superman, but is a big fan of Man of Steel. And the thing about it is that Man of Steel itself was mixed in as far as how it was received. So, and it's all speculative. It's all how you want it, how it affects you. So, I would look into on this question is, I mean, was Batman versus Superman better or worse than Man of Steel? I mean that's subjective, person to person. What do you think? What do you think about which movie you like better?
Personally, I really loved Man of Steel, and I didn't care for Batman vs. Superman, so Man of Steel is the better one for me.
Steel is the better one for you.
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence because I'm one of those guys that was excited about finally seeing Batman and Superman on screen together. So as far as which one was better. And then what was the next part of the question? He said the only difference was that he could see in he said that it was an incoherent mess and that no ultimate cut
could make up for the moronic actions of the two main characters and Lex Luthor's awful caricature.
So did you see both versions?
In both, he makes it sound like he's seen both versions of it, and he feels the same exact way.
Yeah. So but did you see both versions?
Oh no, I haven't. I haven't seen the ultimate cut yet.
Okay. I had to watch Batman vs. Superman a second time to really get into the enjoyment part of it. Because the ultimate version explains some things, it makes it flow a lot better, and it kind of explains some things where you kind of have to figure out on your own, like, well, spoiler guys, what's like the things that were happening in the beginning of the movie in Africa, and why we go from that to Superman getting blamed all of a sudden. Then because it just jars and just cuts like from boom to from him showing up to him being blamed for something. And then in the ultimate cut, they show that something and why he was blamed for it and all that stuff. And it just that little things like that made it flow better. And then all of a sudden you're like, so with those little things like that, like I agree with this guy that the Lex Luthor character was, I didn't like the way it was portrayed. But even though the character was portrayed exactly the same way in the ultimate cut, because of the explanations, for some reason, even his performance was more forgivable to me in the ultimate cut. Maybe it's just because I was just forgiving everything because of the fact that I got the ultimate cut, but I don't know. But even I hated it, his performance, and then I kind of understood his character a little bit more when his plan was more understandable and more revealed as being as ingenious as it was. Because at first, when you watch the theater cut, it's like kind of just sloppily fell together on its own. Then when you watch the ultimate cut, you was like, you was a puppet master. That is how Lex Luthor would do it. So it's kind of, you got to see the ultimate cut to know what I'm getting at. But are you planning on seeing the ultimate cut? That's it. I mean, it's very, very good. You should check it out.
At some point, yeah, I will eventually see it. I don't know. When I first watched Batman vs Superman, it really drained me. I just felt like it was a chore to sit through in the theater. So at some point, I'll definitely check out the ultimate cut. I just think I need to be in the right mood and mindset to enjoy it thoroughly.
Right state of mind, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that I found a lot of people are saying that I agree with, you got another 30 minutes added to it. Even though it's technically longer, it feels like it's going faster because of the fact that poor edit job that they did cutting out these key scenes makes it flow so much better. You feel like the time goes by a little bit faster. And maybe I'm hypnotizing you by putting that suggestion in your mind now, but you'll thank me later. You'll be like, oh yeah, you're right. I think it was a lot faster. It felt like 2 minutes versus 3.5 hours. And then the last part of this, the question.
So now we're going to get to like the questions. Okay, so it's two. The first question being, do you know the story behind why Nolan wasn't involved in Batman versus Superman?
No, but I mean, I feel like even though he probably had some, they say that he had something to do with the writing, help put the story structure together on the first one and whatnot. Ultimately, even though this Superman, this was before the DC cinematic universe was even a thought. They thought they were just making a Superman movie, and then with the success from that, then they were like, oh, should we link this Superman with Nolan's Batman, and which Nolan was against because he wanted his Batman to live in a world where Batman could be real, and if a billionaire decided to do this stuff, what would it look like in the real world if Gotham was real? Nolan was tagged on as an executive producer by name only, mostly because of the fact that the Nolan trilogy was so successful that they wanted that success to carry on and to give Superman a boost, since Superman Returns was such a letdown in a lot of ways. So that's the real reason. I mean, by name only, just like Steven Spielberg, he does it all the time. You're like, give me $100 million or whatever. I don't know how much the money is, 100,000 or whatever. Yeah, I'll call. Yeah, here, give you a few show notes. Just give better light. Put the light that's over there and move it over there. Boom, I'm an executive producer now because I just kind of contributed a little bit. These guys do it all the time because if I made a movie with an iPhone or whatever and just filmed it and it was a 30-minute little short, and you were like, you're going to watch the movie? You're like, no. What if I said it was executive produced by Steven Spielberg or Chris Nolan? I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out then. That's what happened. That's what happened. And he said that Nolan was a executive producer
for Batman vs Superman.
Yeah. So it happened again. So, I mean, I think Nolan's name will always kind of be floating around. Maybe after this, maybe it will start to taper off. But I'm thinking it was mostly just for show. Just the success of the Nolan trilogy, it just needed to give this a boost. The reason, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I really don't know. You hear anything about did not do on Batman versus Superman? I mean, on Man of Steel.
Did I hear anything that he did?
Yeah, besides like give show notes or give ideas and write a little bit of the script. I mean, what else did you hear that he did?
I mean, I don't think he really did anything like you were saying. I think his name was just attached to it to bring more of a draw into the film.
Yeah. This is pretty much Snyder's baby. And with Batman versus Superman, well, the theater cut was attacked hard. The ultimate cut was forgiven a little bit because it was like, okay, we see what you really meant to do. And then obviously Warner Brothers gutted it so they can get more screen time in the theaters. So if it's a better movie, then okay, then that means ultimately that he gave a better, he did execute it properly, quote unquote, to some people. And if Nolan had nothing to do with it or had very little to do with it, then I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe, and Superman was Man of Steel was still met with mixed reviews in a way too. But I feel like you said, the draw of his name, because it was just fresh off of the Dark Knight Return,
Yep.
the
Rises.
Dark Knight Rises, just elevated it so much. I feel like if this would have been if Man of Steel was 10 years after the Dark Knight Rises and did not have Christopher Nolan's name on it, I think it probably would have gotten criticized a little harsher. But I mean, who knows? I mean, there's still no way of knowing. Or maybe we would have elevated it more because, oh my God, it's been so many years since we've had a Superman movie. So it's just a weird thing to speculate. There's no way of really knowing of what would have happened. Maybe Christopher Nolan should just put his name on there and just say co-directed by Nolan, and then Nolan just shows up one day and just looks into the lens and goes, "Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm leaving." And then he's technically a co-director.
Yeah.
And I bet Justice League will be like, "Oh my God, the best movie ever. Nolan blessed it again." Like I'm telling you, that's what would happen.
And then the final part of Christopher's little question here is, what's your explanation of such a stark difference between the two movies?
Well, just that. I just feel like the fans' reaction to knowing that a director who knocked it out of the park so well and became so beloved, and then after that he had Inception and all these other hits and whatnot. It just attaching that name like Spielberg or or any of these directors who are or such. The director of Kill Bill, Quentin Tarantino. Imagine if it said Justice League, directed by Quentin Tarantino. You don't think that no matter if it was the exact same film that we're about to get, people would be like, "Wow, oh my God, so great, so awesome." It could be the exact same film that we're about to get. I just feel like that's the difference. I think Warner Brothers they just knew that it was the right call to make, and they did it again with Batman vs Superman, but they didn't market it. They didn't market it at all. I didn't even know he was the executive producer of B versus S because they didn't market it the way they did with Man of Steel. Man of Steel, his name was bigger and bigger font than Snyder's was. It was weird. So maybe that was the difference. The font on the poster, it didn't say Chris Nolan and then Snyder. It just said Snyder. And it was like, maybe that was it. That's my opinion. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think is your opinion on it?
Well, I feel like Man of Steel wasn't forced to create a universe of movies. I felt like Batman vs Superman was, and that was the big draw away from the movie, that they're setting up the Justice League movie and the Wonder Woman movie, the Aquaman movie, Flash movie. But Man of Steel was its own thing, so I guess it was more focused on one character rather than a bunch of different arcing stories that will eventually connect. And that's the only thing other than the directing credit and the executive producer credit on the top of the poster.
I like your answer better than mine because it makes more sense. Because just like Batman, it was only focused on Batman. Man of Steel was only focused on Superman. If Nolan had anything to do with that, that's probably why. And then the second meet Batman and all these other people, Nolan was like, "Nope, I'm not putting my name up on that, but just hide my name right there." So maybe you know what? I like your answer. Let's go with your answer.
Okay. We'll go with it.
All right, guys. Well, that was our one and only question for this segment of We Got Your Mail. Remember, you can send questions in. You can either send it to @T3Medias Twitter. You can also send it to our Facebook page. Same thing, T3 Medias. And you can send your questions. Oh, you know what? I'll also check them, and we also check them on our YouTube. So if you happen to comment on any movie, any segment, anything at all, if it's a question, if it ends with a question mark, it might come up here on when We Got Your Mail. But the main way that we can get your mail unofficially is just in case if you happen to send it to somebody else, we might intercept it. Don't ask us how we do it. It's kind of sneaky, but we appreciate all the questions that we get. Don't forget, we got a contest going on. We will be giving free movie passes every time we hit 100 subscribers. So it looks like we're about to do that again on the road to 800. And when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're going to give away a free gaming console of your choice, whoever that random winner is. I want to thank Michael Chu. Hey, Mike. Hey, what's going on with you lately over there? Where are you at on YouTube?
So, guys, I am at Michael Chu on YouTube, or if you type in on Google Record Chu or on YouTube, you can find me really quickly. I'm the first one at the top. Most recent video, Don't Breathe, spoiler review. I really love the movie, and we go full on into all the nitty-gritty scenes in that movie, the controversies behind the movie, all that. So definitely go check it out.
Till next time, guys.